Hey, what is going on, everybody? So today we have another roster review lined up. This time it's going to be for Krunky, who contacted me via Discord and wanted to set one up, so we have a bit of a lower TCP roster to review today, and I hope this might be helpful for similarly positioned people, but we'll go into the exact details when we take a look at his profile page. So, of course, without further ado, let's get this review started. Alright, so first things first, we have the commander or player profile page here, and Krunky is currently level 76 with approximately 1.83 million TCP, and he has also been playing for around 250 days, and he wanted to let me know that there has been a fair bit of spending on this account in that time period, approximately $800 or so. I assume this US dollars, but if that's mistaken, you know, you can feel free to correct me below if need be. So, if you are in a similar playtime account, don't be deterred if your TCP isn't as high as this, since there is some spending involved to get here. So, as we can look at the front page here, we do have the strongest team power of 306k. Looks like we have an arena team of Emma Frost, Symbiote Spider-Man, or really the 4 symbiotes minus Anti-Venom with Emma Frost. So this is actually a pretty good arena team from what I understand. I actually heard that if you were to replace Carnage with Anti-Venom and use these 5, minus Carnage of course, that you can actually take out Black Order with that if they're strong enough. So another thing to keep in mind if they're looking to build, if Krunky's looking to build a really solid arena team. That's what I've heard. So let's start on and move on to the first page of the roster, and we have that here. And so let's scroll to the top. There's a few heart favorited. My guess is we've had Assassin and Nobu starred. I would assume that this is for the Phoenix Legendary event, because this is kind of the easier farm to do if you aren't quite able to farm Hela, which we do see a Hela unlocked at 3-star down here, but my guess is that he's not quite on villain 7-6 in order to get farming on him. Let's scroll through the top though in terms of highest characters here. So we have Symbiote Spider-Man at 60, I think that's 68.5k at 3 red stars, unfortunately, but almost close to 4 stars, so that should be good. What I would recommend, I definitely recommend, you know, for people who have Symbiote Spider-Man unlocked, continuing to build him up, and then also when you do get him to 4 yellow stars, I would recommend that 4 red star purchase if you do have silver promotion credits lying around to get that. I do see a 5 yellow, 4 red Carnage, and that's great there. We do have Emma Frost, Mr. Sinister. These are all really good characters. Thanos, Scream. It looks like, you know, a lot of the main solid characters are starting to be built up and are already with tier 13. On the previous, the commander page, I noticed that Dark Dimension 2 was cleared. We have Ultron here at 7 stars, so that's been cleared twice as well. So I think it looks like we're going to be working on getting up to tier 14, taking the right characters into Dark Dimension 3, and I think that's what the focus is here. So, Symbiote Spider-Man, Carnage are 2 solid city characters for Dark Dimension 3, which are very worth building up. Symbiote Spider-Man first, in my opinion, and then we have Emma Frost, Mr. Sinister, very important characters for that Dark Dimension 3 tier 14 as well, and I would assume because Hand Assassin and Nobu are the star levels that they are, there is no Phoenix that I'm going to find later down the line, but Phoenix is a very important character for Dark Dimension 3 for the first 8 nodes. So yeah, definitely look forward to getting that on the next pass. I'm not exactly sure when that is though. I think maybe in a month and a half to 2 months or so at least, but when Phoenix is unlocked, I would recommend putting as much gear into the mutant gear into Phoenix as you possibly can to get her close to tier 13, 14, so that she is usable for Dark Dimension 3 when you do get around to that. I do see a Venom here. I think that's gear tier 12, looking good here. Minerva, another solid character to bring into Dark Dimension 3 here. We have Ultron, not so great. I actually personally took Ultron into Dark Dimension 3, but nowadays I don't think it's such a huge deal. I do see a 7 red Vulture. It's a little bit unfortunate. I mean, you might be able to squeeze Vulture into a Doc Ock offense team when you do get around to unlocking him. But my personal preference is not to use Vulture. I do use Rhino and Mysterio alongside Electro and Swarm. But if you don't have, or they're not farmable by that point, you know, you could fill in Vulture instead of Swarm or something like that if you want to. We do have some defenders built up. Unfortunately, they are quite high. Normally, I wouldn't recommend people to be building up defenders at this high, but I do believe that Krunky did play a little bit further back in the game cycle and took a break for a while, so that might explain why the defenders are actually up the way they are. I do see a Hela here, so that's fine. I'm kind of mixed, actually, for Hela when it comes to Dark Dimension 3. And I said this a little bit in my tier list video, or my top 10 video, sorry, and that's because that she's very gear hungry. So she needs 5 sets of mini uniques for gear 13, 14, and 15, and so on, and that's a lot, whereas characters like Thanos, possibly Ebony Maw, depending on how your legendaries are looking, you know, those could be possible alternatives to take up instead of Hela. That being said, she is a very solid and strong character. Unfortunately, I do see that the red stars are kind of low on Hela, so that's a little bit unfortunate. So whether or not you want to take Hela up for Dark Dimension 3, that's entirely up to you. I noticed that you've already cleared Dark Dimension 2 without her, so you know, you don't necessarily need to have her. I did her much later, I think for my second pass, not my first pass, so bear that in mind as well. Now, in terms of tanks for global for Dark Dimension 3, Strife and Colossus, this is something I've been battling with this past patch, that was a terrible thing to say. Anyways, because Strife, in my opinion, might win out when it comes to Dark Dimension 4, and for that reason, I think a lot of people should be looking at Strife to take into Dark Dimension 3. Strife and Colossus both require the same superior unique, which is titanium alloy, and for Dark Dimension 4, which I know, you know, you're probably nowhere you definitely are nowhere near there yet, but you don't really want to double up building up characters that have the same unique, so it requires a lot of superior uniques in order to get to 13, 14, and 15, which is 12, 24, and then 25, and Colossus loses a lot of this value in Dark Dimension 4 by not being able to run beside Phoenix. So I think for that reason, Strife and running with Emma Frost and Mr. Sinister make a really good trifecta here for Dark Dimension 3, and probably beyond, who I plan on taking to Dark Dimension 4 as well, which you can run with Phoenix for Dark Dimension 3 alongside these three. It is a lot of mutant gear, but I do think that that might be the preferred option moving forward, but that's just my opinion there. Now, looking down the rest of the roster here, normally I try to pick out red stars, so people with high red stars that might be worth leveling up. I see a 5 red Mysterio. I think that if you do end up unlocking Doc Ock, I think that would be quite worth it. 5 red Mysterio. Mysterio is one of the characters that I use on my Doc Ock team, if that's something that you're looking to build in the near future. I see a 4 red Taskmaster. I'm just seeing if there's any meta characters that really have kind of been skipped or missed out on. These rows seem okay. Let's move on to the next photo here and see what we got. Second page here at the top. So we've got some aim. 4 red Loki. I guess Black Bolt is another important one that you're going to need up. It looks like you have a 5 yellow Loki, and actually I didn't check any other Asgardians, but of course you only have Hela and 3 stars. So Thor here is 5 star. Hela is definitely going to be someone that you're going to need to work on getting to farmable status. So in order to get through the villains 7-1 to 7-3, which is, I believe, AIM, Hydra, and AIM, Hydra, and I'm forgetting the third one for some reason. Sinister 6, actually, that's it. I would recommend using AIM. AIM is much easier to clear for that. If you do need some guidance for the level 70 campaigns, though, definitely check out my video that I have on my guide for level 17 campaign chapters, and you can find that in the description below. Also, as well, on my channel, it's easy to find there. So just type in level 70 campaign chapters if that's something that you're interested in. Other characters here on the roster, though, so I see 5-star Thor, 5-star Loki, so it looks like we're probably just missing Hela in order to get Black Bolt unlocked, and then that of course would then lead into getting Ebony Maw unlocked on the next pass. So I think that's something that's really important for the meta of the game, and something I would highly recommend doing is making sure that you work your way to Phoenix, Black Bolt, and Ebony Maw. I know it's easier said than done, but those are like the 3 top characters that would kind of propel you forward in the game's meta. So make sure you do your best to try to unlock those characters as soon as you possibly can. You won't regret it, and they're very strong characters, obviously, for Dark Dimension and Endgame as well. So let's scroll through down here. Nothing of super surprise here. We're looking at, I always look at red stars, because I think if you have a 4 or even 5 red star or above, that makes it a much easier target for characters to level up, because they'll gear up and they'll power up a lot quicker if they have higher red stars, rather than a character that has like 2 or 3 or less even. You know, I wouldn't really recommend building them personally. So I'm just scrolling through here. Nothing, Killmonger, actually, 4 red Killmonger, that's not too bad. You might want to consider raising up your Wakandans for the Chaos Theory event, if you haven't already. It is a monthly event that comes around for promotion credits, both silver and gold promotion credits. You do need Shuri for any 5-star plus. I didn't see Shuri yet, so I would definitely recommend if she's not already built, but maybe we'll get to her. We do have Ghost here. Ghost is another very solid character for Dark Dimension, I want to point that out, and you do have 3 red and almost 4 red really there with 76 out of 80 shards, so maybe you'll get lucky for some extra character shards through some orbs, but that would be very helpful for your runs for Dark Dimension 3 and beyond, so I would consider gearing up Ghost. And looks like Sif is basically at 5-star, so we're pretty much there for Asgardians for Black Bolt. Just Hela needs to be done. Like I said, work towards farming that through the Villains Chapter 7 and getting through that. Otherwise, I wouldn't necessarily recommend raising any Black Order. It looks like you have Cull Obsidian until you're maybe a little bit closer to getting Ebony Maw. They are very good as standalone characters, but they're definitely a lot better with Thanos and the rest of the team. So once you get closer to being able to unlock Ebony Maw, I would definitely recommend it. I do see Invisible Woman here at level 1. I think she is worth some investment. She is bio though, so if you're currently using bio anywhere else, that's, the symbiote is a good example of that, then I can definitely sympathize for not wanting to put your gear into her right now, but definitely something you should look into down the line. Now, in terms of Inhumans, I do see Karnak here at 3-star, Crystal at 5-star, and so that's and Miss Marvel at 4 and a bit here. So this is a good start for working towards Ebony Maw, who are the character requirements for that. I don't know where you are in terms of your campaign progress, but Karnak is in the Nexus Chapter 8, so you're going to need to make sure that you get him on a farmable status so that you can work towards farming him, getting him up to 5-star for that Ebony Maw unlock. Otherwise, scrolling through here, Red Skull, Electro, so we do have Electro unlocked, 4-star Electro, and we have Swarm unlocked as well. Let's see here, 4th page here, getting down to the bottom of the barrel here. We have some other characters unlocked. In terms of characters that aren't really geared up, unfortunately, it looks like you didn't get that Anti-Venom unlocked, so that kind of explains your arena team. Now, that's kind of unfortunate, but, it does look like that's like 90 out of 100 shards, so that's very close. Maybe you'll get a lucky pull on some of the orbs, and that might help you get him unlocked, and then when you do, definitely put those resources into him and getting that full symbiote on board, because that'll help you not only in raids, of course, if you want to take it further into Dark Dimension, and I think in arena too as well. So let's see what kind of characters you don't have unlocked. So Shuri, unfortunately, isn't unlocked. I would definitely recommend unlocking Shuri, if anything else, for the Chaos Theory event, which is very important to get more silver and gold promotion credits. So I would definitely recommend getting your Sinister Six up to 5-star. I do realize that they are symbiotes instead. So actually, now that I think about it, or sorry, I meant to say Spider-Verse. But Sinister Six doubles, and I noticed that you have Invisible Woman unlocked, so maybe you just missed out on the Shuri event, or it hasn't come back around. I believe it is due pretty soon. Now, I know that Ebony Maw got pushed forward instead of Shuri's event. I think it was supposed to go Shuri and then Ebony Maw, but then I found out that it's going to be Ebony Maw, and then maybe Shuri will be after that, so hopefully by that point you'll have Shuri unlocked, and then you can work on her, gearing her up. She is a good choice as well for global if you need to for tech, and she, of course, like I said, for Chaos Theory. So otherwise, it looks like Proxima's not unlocked, Corvus not unlocked, but that's okay, because you're not towards Ebony Maw. Anyways, Black Bolt, a 5-red Black Bolt, so definitely once you get Black Bolt unlocked, unfortunately, he did come around just recently, I'm pretty sure, so unfortunately it's going to be another 2 to 3 months probably until it comes back around, unless there's something crazy that happens for Christmas, which I doubt, for legendary characters. That would be really cool, if they had like one day where they had all the legendary characters available, or the legendary events available for one day only or something for Christmas Day. That would be really fun. Phoenix, like I said, is going to need to be worked on, I think, in order to get you further progress in Dark Dimension 3. So I noticed that, like I said, you are sharding up Hand Assassin and Nobu, but I guess if you really, really want to use a better character, Hela is a very valid choice, but of course you're going to need it 6-star, not 5-star, 6-star to unlock Phoenix, so it's not always possible, so just use the characters that you need to. I don't think it's a terribly difficult event, depending on what kind of resources you put into these characters, and also the villain mystics that you use, villain mystic controllers that you use to unlock Phoenix can also be used for that villain's 7 6 campaign anyways for the Hela farm node as well, so keep that in mind there. Otherwise, I don't really have too much else to say. I know that maybe might not have been the biggest roster review out there. I think the main focus for this roster review was Dark Dimension 3, but if I got it wrong, you know, please let me know, and I can get back to you myself personally later on. Now, so it doesn't look like there's too many other characters you're missing. You do have a lot of the main sort of meta characters that you're leveling up, especially in your top roster here. All these look pretty good, other than Defenders, which look maybe a bit high, too far leveled up, but I suspect that was from playing earlier. But yeah, it looks pretty good so far, and it looks like you have a solid raid team, solid Dark Dimension thoughts going on here with the characters you're gearing up. So this looks pretty good to me so far, especially given the fact that, like I said, 1.83 million collection power, level 76, and like 250 days played. So that looks good to me, and if you need any more help or assistance, then feel free to get back at me. And of course, guys, you know, if there's anyone else who's looking to do a roster review of any kind, then feel free to hit me up in Discord. That's the best place to find me. You can find all of that in the description below, and of course on the front of my channel or in any of my videos. All the links are there for my Discord channel and my contact information for Discord too. So that's the best place to get a hold of me if you want your own roster review. So that's the end of this video, guys, and of course I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, stay safe. I'll see y'all later. Waylon signing out.